Good morning, everybody. And today is February 1st, 2021, our fourth week lecture. Welcome to the class. And as we discussed last time, uh, we were discussing about the formation of the Pali Tripitaka, three baskets. And most of you have sent me your responses, the homework, and those of you who haven't done so, please go ahead and submit them. Otherwise, as I told you, that will be considered as you did not attend the class. If you don't submit the homework, that means you haven't got the attendance. So please do so. And today, being our fourth week, today's lecture is based on the chapter 7 of the book, our textbook, chapter 7, starting from page 95 through 102. About 7-8 pages. This lecture is about the Buddhist king Ashoka. You have to read the book and see the spellings and all that. Before I jump into that subject, the last week I could not finish the. I was mentioning about the three councils. We were talking about the three pitakas or the three baskets, as well as we were talking about the three councils. I discussed about the first council where 500 enlightened monks got together and rehearsed or chanted the Buddha's teachings, and then they classified those into three baskets. That was the first council. Council, as I told you, is the Pali word is Sangiti. Sangiti means monks get together and chant or rehearse the teachings. So that was the first one, just after the passing away of the Buddha, 3 months after the passing of the Buddha. And the second council was held. In the history, it is said that after 100 years of the passing of the Buddha, after 100 years, roughly. And the reason why monks got together and rehearsed the teachings again was there was a problem with it is called the schism, SCISM, schism. That means the breaking of the unity of the members of the community. There was a problem, a disciplinary problem, and the monks were of different opinions. Buddha's disciples were of different opinions. So they wanted to get together and come to a conclusion: what is the correct disciplinary rule? What is wrong? What is correct? And to discuss that thing, monks got together and they held a council. That was the second one. And after that council, in Buddhist history, we are talking about the history of Buddhism. So in the Buddhist history, there arose some different schools, sects. So until such time, the unity of the community of monks and nuns were one. They were united. But after this council, maybe after or maybe just before the council, monks were divided into different sects. You must have heard the word sects. Sects means schools. Like in Catholicism, in Christianity, we have different schools. Just like that, in Buddhism, Buddhist Sangha divided into different sects. In the tradition, it says there arose 18 sects, 18 schools. Some of these schools are based on some cities of the Indian continent, and some of them were based on their basic teachings. They emphasized certain teachings of the Buddha, and they took it as their school name. So there were 18 such schools. Out of those 18 schools, today exists only one. You have to know that fact also. We may call the Theravada Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism is such school that arose in the second, around the time of the second council. And that school is still existent, still existing in the world. The other schools are no more, but their writings and their influence is always with Buddhism, Buddhist history. And that was the second council. So second council is important because it paved the way for, paved the way for emergence of different schools. And that was the second council. So the third council in the Buddhist history, that was held during the time of the King Ashoka. We are talking about King Ashoka today. So during his time, when he was when he was ruling the Indian subcontinent, this council was held. It was very important council because King Ashoka supported that council, and he helped the monks so much to spread Buddhism in different parts of India and also different nearby countries. That's how Sri Lanka got Buddhism, because Sri Lanka is an island close to India. During the time of the King Ashoka, after this council, he sent 9 groups of monks, 9 missionaries to different parts of the world, different parts of India, as well as some other countries. And Sri Lanka being one of the countries to receive the earliest times, the Buddha's message, that is how. And a very important thing is that this King Ashoka's son, as well as his daughter, both of them became a monk and a nun. Mahinda and Sangamitta, their names, and they both went to Sri Lanka. These are historical facts. It is historically proved that they both went to Sri Lanka. They spent in Sri Lanka and spread Buddhism in Sri Lanka. That is king's own son and daughter. So this is the third council. After the third council, Theravada was highly established, and then this king was supporting the Theravada Buddhism. So that is in reference to the third council. King Ashoka's role is very important. And the very important subject today is, as I told you at the very beginning, the chapter 7 focuses on King Ashoka. King Ashoka is the greatest king in the Buddhist history, greatest monarch. You can use the word monarch. He actually, at the beginning, his aim was to build a very strong kingdom, a very strong monarch. So he had wars with different parts of India, different countries, different regions. He wanted to make them under his control. So he had very fierce battles. His army had fierce battles with different parts of Indian regions and different countries also. and he was able to take them under his control. So he was a very like Alexander the Great, with the power of the arms, he was able to uh, control the neighboring regions of India. So he made a very big, powerful monarch. And one day he realized, he saw a Buddhist. This is how the story goes. One day he saw a young, very young Buddhist monk walking on the street, and he asked that monk to visit his palace. The monk came and he sat down, and then he was asking some questions from this monk. The monk said something like this: "It is better for you to win yourself rather than winning others. It is better for you to win yourself." So the battle should be to win yourself, not to control others, not to win others. Victory over yourself. And this thing made the king to think, uh, ponder, to reflect about what he had done. He has killed many people, and he became so disappointed and sort of disgusted about what he did. And then he thought about the very short thing that that little monk told him, and by that way he met senior monks, and then he gave up the building of his monarch. uh, Winning the people, victory through arms, he gave up that, and he thought, I should win people through uh, Dhamma. Dhamma means through the righteousness. Through righteousness, I should win others, not through power, not through arms, not by arms, not by force, but by uh, righteousness. So he thought, he completely changed his character. He became a so, he was so violent and so fierce, so strong, but later he changed his mind to become a very nice, pious, silent, and non-violent person. And after that, he spent his whole lifetime uh, supporting the Buddha's teaching, and also helping people in his kingdom. He helped many people, not just Buddhists, but the others also. That's very important. Even to animals, he provided shelter, and he ordered some people to not to kill animals, and also the environment, protect trees and other things. Beauty of the environment should be, his opinion was, uh, we should protect them. Look at how people change. When he was fighting with other kings and other regions, and when he was engaged in battles, he was so arrogant and so fierce, so violent. And after changing his character, he became so silent and so nice to people, to monks, and he followed the Buddha's teaching. And very important thing is, even today, the Buddha's life story. We were discussing about the Buddha's life story before, and we exactly know that Buddha was a historical figure. Historical figure. He's a real person. Buddha was a real person, thanks to King Ashoka, because King Ashoka wanted to go to places associated with Buddha's life, like where the Buddha was born, and where he attained the enlightenment, and where he had the first sermon, and the last place was where he passed away. These four places, this king visited into these four places, and he erected edicts. You know the word edicts. If you have to read the book, in the books it is explained. Edicts, edict, edict. That is a rock pillar where you write something. You have like inscriptions. So what this king did was, he visited the all four places where the Buddha's important events of the Buddha's life are associated, and he built edicts. He said, such and such a year I came to this place. This is where the Buddha was born, for instance. This is where the Buddha was born, and I came here in my 20th year of my reign, and I was so happy. And very important thing is where Buddha was born. It is called Rummindei today in Nepal. He placed that edict there, and he wrote there, because the Buddha was born in this village, in this place. So the people who are here, they have to pay taxes to the government only 1/8 of the taxes. Other people have to pay 8, but these people, they have to pay only 1/8, because this is where the Buddha was born. See how pious he was. So these are not imaginary stories. They are written in the rock edicts. So his time period was, this is also very important. It is said in the book, you can see, he was his reign, his ruling period was 268 to 232 BC, before the common era. Okay, 268 to 232. This is little bit controversial, but roughly most of the scholars agree this is the time period where the king was ruling in India. And during that time, that means roughly about the passing of the Buddha, it is like 200 some years, not long ago. 200 some years later, uh, King Ashoka went to the places where the Buddha's life story is, as we told you at the beginning, his place of birth, where he attained enlightenment, where he gave first sermon, and also where he passed away, Kushinagar. All those four places he built, he erected edicts. That's one of the great things that he did. And the other important thing is, in his kingdom, wherever his power was, he erected different inscriptions. Let's call them inscriptions, edicts. He set messages for the people. Those messages are, he took some teachings of the Buddha, and he wanted to spread the teachings of the Buddha to the people. So he erected, they are uh, short messages from the Buddha's teaching. He erected those things all over his kingdom. And also he sometimes, in some places he said, uh, I am your savior, I am your protector, I am here to protect you, I am here to please you, make you happy. So these are the very important things. Very nice king in that sense. Sometimes he is referred to as the most righteous king that has ever lived in the world. Most righteous king that has ever lived in the world. What do you may call the he took the turn by giving up arms, giving up war. He wanted to win people through righteousness, and that was the motto. That was his motto. win other people's heart through righteousness. That is why, after the third council, as I just mentioned, with the help of the senior monks, he held the council and he wanted to cleanse the Sangha. And by now there were different schools, many small sects in Buddhism. So he wanted to make it a united group. No, there cannot be divisions in the Sangha. So please come together and make yourself a one group. So politically, this is maybe not good. It was not good for the most of the schools, but for Theravada Buddhism, I have to talk about myself. Theravada Buddhism, this was a very good support. For the others, actually, it was a big blow. For Theravada Buddhism, this King Ashoka is the one who promoted it, supported it, and he was trying to spread it all over. So that's why Sri Lanka and other parts of the world got Buddhism in the earliest period, after like 215 years after the passing of the Buddha, roughly. Around that time, Sri Lanka was able to get receive the Buddhism. As I told you, his own son and daughter, king's son and daughter, they both became monks and nuns, a monk and a nun. And so that proves that he was so pious and so devoted to the spread of Buddhism. And throughout his kingdom, he wanted to share the message of the Buddha. He wanted to engage in a discussion with the people based on the Buddha's teachings. In some of the edicts, these are not just imaginary talks, because they are still there. These edicts, these inscriptions, you find good instructions given to people based on Buddha's teachings, Buddhist teachings. So, in fact, when we were talking about the Tripitaka last week, some of the discourses, names of the titles of the discourses, you find in his edicts, in his inscriptions. So that proves that these sutras, they are called sutras. These discourses are taken from the Tripitaka. So you find those sutras in the Tripitaka. So that means it tallies, it tallies very nicely. So those are very ancient historical evidence to show that Tripitaka was forming at that time, and it is true. At that time, it existed during the reign of King Ashoka. So, in the Buddhist history as well as Indian history, King Ashoka is one of the luminaries. He is like the sun. Everybody, historians discuss about him very positive way, because his reign was such a blessing for the people. Not just people, as I told you, even for the environment, for the animal life, protection of animal lives. Today we are talking about these things in the world, and as far back as that period, before the Common Era, King Ashoka was paying attention to those things, to environmental protection, animal rights, and also, of course, human rights, all those things. So in that sense, King Ashoka was uh, not just was, he is one of the greatest kings that humanity had in this world. So please go through the chapter as I told you, chapter 7, starting from page 95 through 102. And there you find his life story and what he did uh, to support the monks and nuns. And oh yeah, he erected 84,000 stupas. Stupa means the pagoda. Maybe he erected pagoda plus a little temple. 84,000 in his reign, in his monarch. So he supported lavishly to the spread of Buddhism, to the betterment of the Sasana. So in that sense, this king is, in the Buddhist history, one of the greatest kings. And he practiced what Buddha said. In ruling a country, in Buddhism, you find some certain qualities that a king should have, that a ruler, a leader, political leader, how a political leader should be. And he, King Ashoka, put that, put those teachings into practice. He became a practical monarch, a righteous monarch that Buddhism talks about. Buddhism teaches a king has to be somebody like this. So this is, he's the first example to show that Buddha's teaching was put into practice. In that sense, King Ashoka is a Buddhist king. Some scholars argue that he is not Buddhist king, he is just a king. Of course, he is just king, but he was influenced by the Buddha's teaching. He tried as much as possible to put those teachings into practice. In that sense, he is a Buddhist king. In some of his edicts, he says, I have a great respect for the Buddha. So that means he is a Buddhist king, and he practiced what he found in the teachings of the Buddha. So King Ashoka in the Buddhist history is very important because of the third council, and as well as uh, spreading Buddhism in different parts of the world. He had missionaries even to Greece. Greece is far from India. Greece, Syria, Middle Eastern countries, and from the south, Sri Lanka, from west, some other regions. So he disseminated, he spread Buddhism into different parts of the world. In that sense, Ashoka is very important. And another important thing is that he erected, as I told you, edicts in different places. When you talk about Buddha's life story, so you have the proof, you have the evidence to show that Buddha was a real person who lived in the history. To that end, Ashoka helped a lot because he is the, because of his edicts, that we are able to dig into the past and find good evidence for the existence of the Buddha. And at the same time, he is the monarch, he is the king who tried to put Buddhist teachings into practice, and he proved himself that these teachings are not just teachings, not just ideas. They can be put into practice so that a good leader can be righteous, and good leader can help the subjects of the kingdom with the teachings of the Buddha. So in that sense also he is very important. So please read this chapter, chapter 7, and get the more information there. And also I will email you. No, the school will email you the assignment for next week. No, I mean this week, week 4, based on Asoka. And so I will wind up. I'm winding up my lecture today. I'm sorry, my voice is a little different because I was suffering from cold and fever and all that, all those things. So, but now I'm okay, better, much better. So please follow the lecture and also read the book, read the chapter, and do your homework and submit them. And those of you who haven't done your past homework, please submit them. That is very important. Otherwise, you won't get the attendance. Okay. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, anything, please email me. I'm always checking my email. I will answer your questions and help you. So please stay in touch and good luck. Thank you.